If you're here for a rant about right or wrong, you're in the wrong aisle. If you're here for the facts, for the heartbeat, for the weight of a single second, keep watching. The air in that locker room, after the choice was made, didn't have a smell. But the memory of it, it's like stale coffee and desperation. I'm Leela. Last week, I was late getting my stuff after swim practice. The locker room was mostly empty, just steam and this cruel laughter. Then I turned the corner. 3 seniors from the football team had Mateo, a tiny freshman, cornered. One guy, his phone up, filming everything. The others were shoving him thud against the metal lockers. His books were in a puddle. He wasn't fighting back. He was just repeating, "Stop, please, stop," in this shattered voice. And then he saw me. His eyes locked onto mine. They weren't just scared. They were transferring his fear to me, making it my problem. My mind screamed, "You didn't see this? Turn around, they will ruin you." But my feet were stone. I'm not strong enough to fight them. I knew that, so I didn't charge. I didn't even speak to them. I looked right at Mateo and I said, "Loud and clear, Mateo. Coach Diaz is looking for you." Right now, in her office, I lied. I invented an authority figure who wasn't there. The kid filming lowered his phone, just a fraction. The shoving stopped. They looked at each other, confused, calculating the risk. That split second of doubt was all it took. They muttered something, shoved past me, and were gone. Mateo slid to the floor, shaking. I helped him gather his soggy books. We didn't speak, but I've replayed it 1,000 times. Was my lie an act of courage? Or was it just cowardice wearing a clever mask? I used their fear of consequences instead of my own physical courage. This moment wasn't just about a choice. It was about the anatomy of a choice. Why did that lie work? Because it shifted the power dynamic without a single punch thrown. Bullies, especially in a group, operate on a very specific wavelength of perceived invincibility. They believe they are in a closed system, a bubble where their rules apply. The kid with the phone wasn't just recording. He was creating evidence of their dominance, a trophy. My lie didn't challenge their physical power. It popped their bubble. Suddenly, an outside authority, Coach Diaz, a real person with real power to bench them, to call their parents, to dismantle their social standing, was on her way. Their internal calculus shifted instantly from how much can we get away with to what are the consequences if we get caught. Fear of a coach is a much stronger motivator for a high school athlete than the fear of a lone girl they outweigh by 100 pounds. My intervention wasn't a show of strength. It was a strategic injection of risk into their risk-free environment. It made them pause. And in bullying situations, a pause is a victory. It breaks the momentum, the hypnotic rhythm of cruelty. That's the vulnerability of the pack mentality. It's powerful, but it's also cowardly at its core, easily spooked by the shadow of authority. Let's dissect my own reaction, though. That feeling of my feet turning to stone? It's a classic freeze response, a primal part of the fight, flight, or freeze trifecta. My brain was overloaded, saw a physical threat I couldn't beat, a social threat that could isolate me, and a moral crisis demanding action. It slammed the brakes. But in that frozen moment, my mind was racing, searching for a third option, a way out that wasn't fight or flight. The lie was a product of that freeze. It was my brain's desperate, last-ditch effort to find a non-physical weapon. Is that cowardice? I don't think so. I think it's a different kind of survival instinct. It's the strategic mind taking over when the body knows it's outmatched. We praise physical bravery, the person who charges in. But what about cognitive bravery? The bravery to think under pressure, to find a loophole in a no-win scenario. Perhaps the bravest thing wasn't confronting them, but confronting my own fear and finding a voice, any voice, in the middle of that terror. So here's the judgment to sit with. When direct confrontation is suicidal, does employing cunning and deception to disarm cruelty become not just acceptable, but morally necessary? This moment wasn't about heroes and villains. It was about survival and a split-second invention. For the full breakdown, the aftermath, and to hear what happened to Mateo, head to our channel, Judgment Day Stories. Subscribe. You've heard the moment. You've felt the weight. Now tell us.
What would you do? This is Judgment Day Stories.